Hey y'all, what is up? Life Coach is in the building. It's been a minute, but I'm back to talk for a little bit about Marvin Sapp and his shenanigans and how they show why people run from the church these days. Now, I grew up in the church. I grew up in the Baptist church, and we took up offerings. We took up the general offering. People had time to go down front and pay their tithes. And we also took up an offering for the building fund. In all of my years of going to church as a kid and as an adult, in the many churches that I've visited, I've never encountered what has gone viral recently with Marvin Sapp and how he did a church in Baltimore. He did come out and try to clarify some things, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. But apparently, he had the ushers to close the doors during offering, which is standard. That's standard practice, at least when I was growing up. The ushers closed the door. They didn't have to be told in such a way as Pastor Sapp displayed. They closed the doors. They stood there, and people didn't get up and walk around doing offering. They didn't leave the church. It's more so church tradition, Baptist tradition for sure. It's what I know, so I'll talk on that. However, the video that surfaced showed Pastor Sapp in the pulpit basically demanding that ushers close the doors. And he didn't necessarily say, don't let anybody out of here until we get this money, but they teach inference skills in school, in elementary school, so people can infer what he was trying to say. So without saying it, he basically told the ushers, get in front of the doors, don't let nobody out until we get the money that I am requesting. And then to the parishioners, that kind of gave the message of don't get up, don't move. Nobody can leave until I say you can leave. And that's what ended up going viral. Now, this clip is old, I believe. I didn't do a whole bunch of research on this topic because I wasn't going to even talk about it. But I'm like, let the ordinary people say something. You know, I'm ordinary. I'm an ordinary person from ordinary life. I'm not a big blogger. I'm not a huge content creator. I'm an ordinary person with an opinion, and this is my platform. So here is my opinion. I just feel like that's one of the reasons that people run from the church these days. No similar message was given about the altar call, which is a sacred moment when people come and either give their life to Christ or bring problems that they are having. You know, take your burdens to the Lord and leave it there. You get what I'm saying. You take your problems to the altar, a prayer is said, and you get up. And when you get up, you know, you leave whatever issue is that you brought, you leave it there. There was no sacred close the door, don't walk around for that moment. So for him to come out and say, well, that wasn't even my church. That was a church in Baltimore. It's like, it doesn't matter what church it was. You said it. And this is what happened. You said it. This was the outcome. Now you just got to deal with it. You don't get to excuse it away, right? So action, reaction, and then whatever comes after that. And then he also was like, well, I didn't say lock the doors. I just told the ushers to close the doors. And it's like, sir, Sometimes I think pastors, especially these big mainstream pastors with these mega churches and a long-standing history of being in the public eye, get to a point where they feel like they are above everybody else and beyond reproach, and so big that they can say and do whatever they want to, and nobody's gonna hold them accountable or make them own what they did. And so, although the intent may not have been to make people feel like they were being held hostage, I see some headlines. I even saw one headline somewhere that said he was arrested for kidnapping. And I'm quite sure that wasn't the case, but people take this stuff and it just spreads like wildfire. So, in essence, he needs to own up to it. I don't necessarily know. Maybe he could apologize, but y'all let me know. It's been so long ago that I feel like living in the past is not the thing to do. As a life coach, I preach against that. I coach against that. I preach against it. Pun intended. I kind of try to coach people out of that. I don't live in the past, but it is something that happened and it was brought to the forefront. So I feel like maybe there's an explanation for it from him that is due. But if you're going to explain it and try to apologize for it, it needs to be genuine. It needs to feel authentically like you're sorry for it, if you are. Now, if you ain't sorry for it, don't apologize for it. You told the ushers to close the door, and it is what it is. So, long story short, I just feel like it just gives greedy pastor trying to take money from the people. And this is the very thing that people talk about in terms of why they don't go to church. A lot of people say their ministry is given outside of the church. Um, I'm in between churches right now, but I give all the time. I support people. I sow into people who are less fortunate. So I could easily fall into, my ministry is outside of the church as well. But to see something like this go viral where essentially what people are saying is right in front of your eyes, and then the person who did it come out and try to explain it away, just basically validates what everybody is saying already about the church and pastors just being money hungry. Personally, that has not been my experience. The pastors that I've been under in churches have all, to my knowledge, been stand up men with integrity, who are fairly transparent about the church's finances, never asked for a specific dollar amount. Now, we've had visiting pastors that have done that. And, it's kind of like, oh, okay, if you can give it, you give it. If you can't, you can't. But never a big scandal around a dollar. I feel like in this society, we put a whole lot of weight on money because money is conversation. Money is a language. Money talks and bullshit walks. Y'all know the saying. So I just feel like we got to do a better job in church about the money. Not to make this long winded, it's already long enough, but I've been sitting on this. I'm like, do I say something? Do I not say something? I really hope that the volume on this came through okay. I got my microphone here, but I got to get an adapter to plug it up to this Mac. So if got through it okay, just next time will be better in terms of the volume. And I'm not going to sit here and holler so y'all can hear me. I hope the message came through loud and clear, and that's going to be that. All right, I'm out. Until next time, I hope you all have an amazing day. Be kind to someone. I hope kindness is being extended to you. And since this is a church video, we will end with, if all hearts and minds are clear, have an amazing day. Toodles.